This is season number 19 of Bass Talk Live with Matt Pengrack. BTL is presented by Lowrance, Bass Cat Boats, Aftco, Strike King Lures, Sunline, Big Bite Baits, Spro, X-Zone Lures, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Pro Guide Batteries, Beatdown Outdoors, Shoreline Boat and RV Repair, and Omnia Fishing. Hit him with the hook, Jeffries.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. January has absolutely flown by. I cannot believe that it is January 23rd already. We are less than 2 weeks away from everything kicking off. We got Invitationals, we got BPT, we got Toyota Series, we got Bassmaster Elite Series. We got it all kicking off. Good week the rest of this week too. Kevin Rogers on tomorrow. Crappie guru turned bass fishing aficionado, and he is going to fish the NPFL and the MLF Invitationals this year. And we'll also ask him what's going on with the NPFL. But really good guest today, a dude that won his first tournament. It was the first tournament that I ever covered for Bass Zone and Mark Jeffries back in the day. And it was Casey Ashley's first Elite Series win. What's up, Casey? How are you doing?
What's good, Matt? How you, man?
Good. So that would have been 2007.
It was a long time ago.
Smith Mountain. I remember that tournament. I remember that tournament very fondly because it was like I said, the first tournament I've ever covered with Mark Jeffries. And I remember Dean Rojas was in the Purelator boat. He was skipping a frog under trees, and it was the loudest frog bite I've ever heard in my life when one of them hit it. But you ended up winning that tournament.
I did. That was a lot of firsts in that tournament for me. You know, obviously it was my first big tour level win. It was the first tournament I'd ever heard of a shaky head. And yeah, it was a lot of firsts.
Wait a second. That was the first tournament you'd ever heard of a shaky head.
First time in my life I'd ever heard of a shaky head.
How'd you hear about it? Like, how did you end up? Did you end up throwing it at all?
Yes, I caught a bunch of them on it.
That's what
Gerald Swindle. Practice was pretty tough. The morning bite was good, but after that, you know, couldn't hardly get bit. And I was talking with Gerald. He's like, "Man, all you gotta do is throw a shaky head around docks, you catch some keepers." I'm like, "What's a shaky head?" So he gives me a handful, like 5 or 6 of them, you know. And I wound up doing good in the tournament with the shaky head. Of course, you know, my bigger fish come on the jig, but clean stuff was on the shaky head, and that started my shaky head love from that point on.
Really? Was it just a straight up like Zoom 6-inch straight worm, or do you remember trick worm? And then do you remember the heads that he gave you even?
It's just a ball headed jig, something homemade, I would imagine.
Not with the screw lock though. No.
Straight up. I hate screw locks. It's got to be a straight up shaky head. No barb on it. Yep.
Take your headsets off real quick and put it in. I'm getting like some background static. I'm not sure if that's on my end. Are you guys hearing that at all too, or is that just me? It was we talked for 15 minutes and it was crystal clear.
How about now?
Yeah, that's way better.
Way better. Good.
Can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
All right. I don't know what the heck that was. That's the joys of running the podcast. And
I'll try to be still. How about that?
No, you're good. You should be able to move around. That's why I was saying, are you kidding me? But no, we're all good. So that was the shaky head deal. The other thing I remember about that tournament was I think Boyd Duckett top 10'd it, didn't he? And he was throwing a Sammy in the ski boat wakes out in front of the takeoff. And I remember that I've never seen anyone in like big time rollers. Yes. And he was throwing a freaking, I want to say a silver Sammy. I want to say a chrome Sammy in the ski boat wakes out in front. There's some islands out there or something.
That makes sense because the chrome, Sammy, everything chrome is like really big around here. And if I remember right, Clark's Hill was the event before Smith Mountain Lake. It was the herring spawn. Everybody was throwing chrome because that was the deal. So you probably still had it left over from Clark's Hill.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Did you know anything that was going on, like in the world of professional bass fishing when you won that event in 2007? Because you're one of the few guys. I want to say it was the second or third event of the year. It was earlier in the year, wasn't it?
No, it was actually the 5th or 6th event because we started at Amistad, and from Amistad we went to.
And that was Derek Remitz.
Yep. From Amistad we went to California, fished the Delta first, fished Clear Lake next. I finished 13th at Clear Lake, by the way.
Was that the Steve Kennedy event? 07?
I believe it was. That was the Bass Tricks year when it became famous. And then from there, we came back to Clark's Hill. I guess it was the 4th or 5th tournament. This mid-season was in June.
But that was your 4th or 5th, like, Elite Series tournament ever. So, I mean, they had Remitz who won, and that was his first event. I think he got second in the next one. And then you win the 4th or 5th. And we talk all the time on the show about how difficult it is as a rookie to win, to make decisions. But that had to be pretty cool to be fairly close to your home waters and win that early on in your career.
It was, Smith Mountain Lake. I'd never been there, never even heard of it.
Really? It's not that far from the Carolinas, is it?
It's about 6 hours from here.
Yeah, it's not that far at all.
Not that far. But I mean, we got Clark's Hill, Hartwell, Murray, Lake Russell within 30 minutes of here. There's no need to drive very far. Santee's 3 hours, so we don't have to go very far to get good fishing. But it reminded me a lot of Lake Russell. And actually how I won that event, I actually figured it out by having fish blow up on the top water first thing in the morning. I knew where they were. And a lot of times when you go places or you find fish, they'll be shallow early in the morning, catch them on top water, and then they move and you can't find them ever again. But in that lake, for some reason, if there was any rock within, 12 to 16 foot of water off those points where they were holding first thing, they would be there midday. And it's not very often that you get to follow fish like that. Most time you just catch them in the morning. That's it. They're gone. It's done. You have to figure something else out. But that was the biggest key to me winning that.
And then if I remember correctly, I should have looked this up before. You were like one of the first and one of the only guys who's won an Elite Series event without a 5 bass limit every single day. Didn't you have 4 on the last day?
I think I had 4 on the final day. Yep.
That's good stuff. I didn't realize you started your Elite Series career off so good. I mean, you went 88th at Amistad, but then 24th, 13th, 8th, 70th, and 1st. So you had, out of the first 5, you had 4 top 25 finishes. Yep.
And 2 of them were in California. Never in my life been to California. I'd never caught a 10-pounder in my life. And we went to the Delta, and I caught one, I think it was the 2nd or 3rd day. I caught a 10-8. And then we go to Clear Lake, and I catch a 10-6, an 11-14. I think I caught 3 over 10 in that one event.
How'd you know where to go on the Delta? Like, you're a dude from the East Coast. You're what? Are you 24 at the time?
I was 23.
23. You go out to the West Coast, to the Delta. Like, how did you even dissect or know what the hell you were doing?
Just start, man. That's how I treat every lake. You got to start somewhere. You don't get bit, you just keep moving till you get bit.
I know, but so where'd you start? You just put the trolling motor down at the ramp, or you just drive around in the maze until you found the stretch that looked good? Or
we backed in. Me and Marty Robinson backed in and took off, and I think it was called White House Slough. And I said, man, if it's got a name, it's got to be good. So that's kind of the area we started. I mean, of course, it's a huge place, but
that's your method.
It had a big ditch, White House Slough was a big.
It's got to be good.
Yeah, big. It's a big canal, but it had like reed islands in the middle, had deep water, had hydrilla, had milfoil. I mean, it had everything you wanted. So started fishing, wound up. We found them, and that me and Marty both fished in there.
I'm using that for the opens this year. If it's got a name, it must have fish.
It's got to be good. If it's got a name,
Because someone's
it's
had to be,
good.
hey, I was in Beaver Creek, or I was at,
Yep.
Goat Island.
There's a reason it has a name.
Huh.
Because some creeks on the lake or some pockets don't have a name.
That one creek next to Chicken Creek or whatever.
Yep.
That's
it's got a name. There's a reason.
Yeah. And then holy cow! So you jump on the Elite Series, and in your first 5 events, you make over 150 grand and win one.
Well, Clark's Hill, that's kind of in the backyard. That was we came straight back there from California, so that was in the wheelhouse. But I still didn't win. I've never won at Clark's Hill, and that's my favorite lake, even over Hartwell. But I've always done well there.
What makes it your favorite lake over Hartwell?
I grew up fishing it more. It's more of a shallow, dirty water type deal. I tended to fish Clark's Hill more than Hartwell growing up. That's the whole reason I signed up for the Invitationals this year. They're going to Clark's Hill February.
Oh, and then if you win that, you're automatically into Red Crest.
Yes.
I got you. It's kind of like the winning you're in thing.
Right.
You mentioned
Plus, it's fun to fish at home, man.
Yeah. How far is that from your house?
40 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad at all. How much has the blueback thing changed over the past 4 years? I don't want to get into the whole debate, but do you feel like your advantage as a guy who actually understands their movements is not as strong as it used to be with the forward-facing sonar out now?
Absolutely. Well, forward-facing does come into it, certain times of the year. But my favorite time to blueback fish was that April, May post-spawn when the herring were actually spawning up shallow.
Okay.
Catch them on top. Forward-facing wouldn't really come into play at that because if they're there, they're going to bite. I mean, there's no need to search around for them. But so many people do that now. It's not even a thing anymore, hardly. It's one of those deals to where if you did find a place that had good ones on it, you'd have to hole sit it all day to catch 5 good ones. Because if you leave it,
when they run them, when they just run them up and they go goo 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 goo, and then they're done.
Yep. Used to, you could just run stuff and they would be there. You'd catch one, leave, come back, that type of deal. But now, if you leave it, so many people's doing it. If you leave it, you lose it. Because somebody else will set it for the
Why
rest
are
of the
so
day.
many people doing it? Are we talking social media? Are we talking just so many tournaments that have been there that know it? I mean, what's the reasoning that guys understand this stuff now that shouldn't? Like, I mean, I can go to Oklahoma. Like, I love it. Like, Hartwell's my favorite lake. If I had to fish any lake in the country at any time and put me on Lake Hartwell, I absolutely love it. And I don't know why, but I mean, I've also had the ability to learn and watch stuff that I think back in 2007 people didn't.
Right. Yeah. And we've had a lot of big events there. There's been a lot of big events there. So, I mean, the knowledge is there to figure out whatever you want to figure out. The only thing about herring lakes is the wintertime, pre-spawn. January, February, those early tournaments. That's when I have a leg up there just because I understand what they do. And a lot of other people do too now, especially, the locals. But wintertime fishing is just my favorite deal, man. When I won the Classic, it was so cold, wind was blowing, boats were froze to the trailers that morning. We had to have a 2-hour delay. Half the field their mind's just gone. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's the tournaments I love.
Did you know you were going to win that one going into it?
I didn't know for sure, but I felt like if I was going to win one, that was going to be my chance.
I mean, you were dialed in. Like, it wasn't like you were like, holy cow, I found him. Like, you knew where you were doing. You had the school that you thought was a winning school.
Yeah. And, I had a starting spot and wound up. That's where I caught a lot of my fish, but that wasn't necessarily like going into the tournament. That wasn't my 100%. I'm going to win here and that's it. Like, there's so many other places. It's just a deal that you can run. And on the final day, it was cloudy, overcast, and I did run around and catch fish other places. I mean, that is the dream day when it's super cold and cloudy, mist and rain. For doing what I was doing, that's a lot of fun.
I talked to you a little bit about this off air, but when you have those cold classics, like one of the biggest not problems, but one of the things that I think really changed in that year, the one that between like when Luke Clausen won it in Florida, when they went from the summer to the early year, is like I don't want to say like that an underspin isn't cool. It's pretty cool, but the cool baits, like the signature, you know what I mean? Like you really narrow down the baits that can be the classic winning bait. You're talking, you know what? Let's just look at Hartwell. Just Hartwell, for example. Let's start with Alton Jones. Early of the year, ugliest jig on the face of the earth.
The mop jig. The football
ugliest jig on the face of the earth. Yours, like an unpainted homemade underspin.
Yep.
Jason Christie, let's not lie here, crappie jig. So I mean,
yep.
Those are the three baits. I mean, it's hard to have a signature series on stuff like that. Did you make a ton of money on an underspin after that event?
Not really. The underspin, yes, I made a ton of money because I won with it.
Yeah.
It is a wintertime deal. Like, it's not like a jig where you can throw it, on ledges on Kentucky Lake or Gunnersville or, flip it in a lay down in Texas or flip bushes with it, whatever it may be. You can use it all the time. Like, the underspin is such a specialty thing. You got like 3 or 4 months out of the year where you can use it. And a lot of people, they would throw a swim bait over that. I just have a lot of confidence in it. And it really shines on blueback herring lakes. You can catch them on at other places. I thought I was going to win one of our Bull Shoals events one time on the underspin as well. But it got warm and the fish just rushed the bank. And obviously that bite was gone. But yeah, they bite it in other places, but it really shines around blueback herring.
Were all 15 of your fish underspin fish?
Every one of them.
I'm trying to think of another classic where every fish that was weighed in was on a single bait. Like there was no variation whatsoever. So like this past year, Christy flipped up a couple on docks, right?
Yeah.
Like afterwards. I'm trying to go back in my mind and I can't think of another classic where every single fish was on.
I think I can remember one. I'm pretty sure KVD, when he won at Lay Lake, he caught every fish he caught on a red-eye shad.
Back underneath the bridge.
Yep.
That's the one that Crete made a run at.
Crete finished second. He was also throwing a trap in the grass in that same creek.
Did he not catch a couple on a square bill, though, before he went to the trap? I thought he maybe caught a couple off those stumps on a square bill or a spinner bait.
He may have. I don't know. I have to go back and watch it. But he did most of his damage because I remember he caught one 6-pounder and he had it like hooked in the back with that trap that he weighed in. That
was probably the most heady tournament I've ever seen because that was where the creek was packed with it was the takeoff creek, but were you?
It was.
There were like 35 guys in it.
Yeah, I wasn't one of them. But
KVD got the bridge and he was like, hey guys, I can't, tell you where to go, but if no one went past this bridge, that'd be awesome. And he had that backwater area. And then of course you had this fans that took it upon themselves to be like, hey, Kevin doesn't want anyone past this bridge. So he had a natural funnel point. So everyone packed in on the bridge to watch him.
Yeah.
It's like J.O. is the only guy in there shooting photos and the TV crew that's with him. And he's got this backwater pond and anybody Taco was back there, I think wanted to get back there. But anybody who wanted back there, they physically couldn't because it was just clogged. It was the most and he didn't do it right off the hopper. If you don't remember, he kind of waited until halfway through the tournament to really be hey, this is my jam. He kind of moved around a little.
So yeah, I
And
was
then-
fishing. I didn't get to see all that aspect of it, but I do remember seeing it on the TV show.
Yeah,
all those boats
and then he was like, "All right, time to make the move." Hey, and so he had a natural barrier. He had a pond to himself. He waited till all the fish that Crete and Faircloth and Russ Lane and all those guys were catching, and they swam right back to him. And then he had no pressure on him, and he pulls out the red eye shad and just goes to town.
Oh man, he whacked him in that deal. There ain't no doubt.
That's freaking crazy.
Hey, I'd like to have a boat barrier sometimes when I was fishing. Had all those boats following me.
Out of all the stuff that you've won, and you've won some stuff pretty convincingly, what would you say the most dominating performance of your career has been? If you were to pick one where you were like, yeah, everyone was fishing for second.
Lake Cartwell FLW event, 2014.
Was that the brush piles on the docks event?
Yeah, the docks with brush, deep docks. Yeah.
Like you knew there were 4-pounders on every single one of those and that they were going to bite.
You just had to be there when they were going to bite. Yep. It was a pretty special deal, man. I had docks where I could go catch, 12 to 14 pounds of spotted bass and then just have the rest of the day and 12 to 14 pounds was good.
Yeah.
And I'd have the rest of the day to go catch 3 or 4 largemouth. I'll never forget the first day of that event. It was 41 degrees. The wind was blowing 25 miles an hour, and it was pouring rain. I'm talking sideways raining. I mean, it was brutal. And the old guy that I had, he was from Texas, my co-angler. He shows up in a Stearns rain suit, plastic Stearns yellow rain suit. And I ran from Clemson to the dam, which is about a 35-minute ride, and it busted open on him before we got halfway there. I'm like, golly. It was awful. Miserable cold.
Did you guys take out from Clemson?
We did.
Oh, that's a hell of a run to get all the way down to the lower end, isn't it?
It is. A long way, especially when it's rough and raining.
So you started out, you destroyed everyone in this tournament. You had a 2-pound lead over Skip Johnson after the first day.
I think I won by 14, 15 pounds.
Then you had a 3-pound lead over John Cox after the second day. Then you had a 9-pound lead over Clint Davis after the third day.
Yeah.
And then you just smoked everyone. Andy Morgan finishes second with 53-15, and you had 68-5.
Yeah.
You went 21-7, 15-13, 15-7, 15-10.
Yep.
Just coasted to victory.
Yeah. I mean, 15 pounds on Lake Hartwell, that's on a 4-day event. Everybody you talk to is like, oh, it'll take 20 pounds a day. I mean, that don't happen here. If you can catch, most everybody's going to have a big day on day one, or the stars line up like they did at the Classic where you get a good weather day and you'll catch a big bag on the final day. You're not going to catch 20 pounds over and over and over again, back to back to back.
And you were saying you like the largemouth better than the spotties.
I do.
That's weird. I think that's weird. Is that maybe because we don't have access to 4 to 5 pound spots? We're in Oklahoma. Is it like the smallmouth deal for us?
You've caught a couple 4-pound spots. When you fish those places day in and day out, and you go catch them one day and you're like, I'm going to go win this tournament tomorrow and I'm going to have 18, 19 pounds of spotted bass, and you come in with 12, then you learn to hate spotted bass.
Well, I did that 2 days in the opens. I thought I was going to do it, and I caught 17 limits of 12.5 pounds on the second and third day.
Welcome to spotted bass.
And every single one you think is that's it. That's her. That's the one.
Yep.
Because they all act the same. And then they're all 2.6 to 2.11.
That's why you need the good largemouth population. Because if you can catch 12, 13 pounds of spots, especially if you can do it early.
Yeah.
You've got 6 hours to go get 2 bites,
I haven't talked about this before, but you're a spotted bass guy. You're a largemouth guy. Have you ever noticed on lakes that have both species that there are days when you catch spotted bass in largemouth areas, right off the hopper, and then you're those days I've noticed the largemouth fishing sucks.
Yep, high pressure.
Have you ever noticed that?
High pressure days. So you can go down a stretch of docks and get a bite on every one of them and know that they're a big largemouth. And go back the next day, you say you had a little front, it's just a bluebird sky, high pressure. Every fish you catch off those same docks will be spots.
Okay, so that's a real thing, like to where you catch like 2 or 3 right off the hopper and you're like, oh my gosh, these are spots, I'm screwed. Like these should not be spotted bass, and you're toast. I've experienced this. Grand, Eufaula, all of the lakes in Oklahoma, and then also like on Hartwell and stuff. Yep.
High pressure, all you're going to catch is spots. That's when you have to break out the shaky head hammer.
Okay.
You catch those big 6-pounders on a 4-inch finesse worm on an 1/8 ounce shaky head.
And they're in the middle of something that's underneath the dock that were aggressive and suspended and we're grabbing it. Now they go down and get pissed off and just hang out and don't move.
Absolutely.
Okay, that makes sense. So they're still there.
Yep, they're there. They just don't bite.
All right,
don't you wish Florida had some spotted bass? Those big cold fronts, high pressure days when you can't buy a bite.
Do they?
You could catch spotted bass there.
Why aren't there spotted bass in Florida? Because there's some of the lakes that are like phosphate pits. That's got to be deep enough for them, doesn't it?
Yeah. Florida has the only thing I know of is the Sewanee bass.
Right? The red-eye deal?
Yep.
Huh. Yeah, no spots. And I think Ken Duke, he's got a new Big Bass podcast. I think they're doing something on like a Florida smallmouth or something. There used to be smallmouth in Florida, or there still are.
I don't know. Don't know anything about that. There's so many species of bass now, I can't keep up with them.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on doing a whole segment on that, but I was interested in it because those are some questions that I've had, and that you answered those questions.
Yep.
That was good stuff. Top 3 spotted bass, like big spotted bass baits of all time. If you're gonna take 3 to the lake to catch 3+ pound spots, would a shaky head be one of them?
Shaky head, one of them. 100%.
See, you're a shaky head. I've watched you on live. You're a shaky head guy, and I feel like there's not that many shaky head guys left. They're either drop shot guys or Ned rig guys. Yeah. But there's not that many just straight up like FLW Tour 2008 to 2013 Beaver Lake shaky head guys.
Yep.
And you're still one of them. Jesse
Wiggins is one of them.
Why haven't you made the transition to the more trendy finesse baits?
Fishing a shaky head, there's an art to it. Like it's a feel that you have to feel and understand. That's why a lot of folks just get away from it. There's certain situations you can't throw it. Like some lakes that have grass, shaky head is not the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just can't fish it. But
what do you mean the art? Is the art like once where you're throwing it, or the art what you're doing once you throw it?
What you're doing with it, with your rod and your line. Yeah. That's why a lot of people get away from it. Most people fish it like a Texas rig worm, where you pull it. You don't pull a shaky head, you shake it. You shake it on slack line. Like my rod never goes down when I shake it. I keep it at like 11 o'clock. I'm just shaking. I pick up the slack with my reel. If you watch me make a long cast with a shaky head, you'd be like, golly, it takes him forever. But that's the way you got to do it.
So, okay. And then you're feeling for the bite. You're either seeing the line pop, or you're going to pull it a little bit to shake it some more. And because I would imagine when you're doing that, there's a lot of bites you're not feeling or seeing because you're shaking it.
You feel it. Most time when they hit it, it's like a jig bite, dude. They push 5 foot of slack in your line.
Are we going 8, 3/16? What's your go-to?
1/8, 3/16. The only 2 sides that I throw.
Light.
I throw 1/8 to 20 foot. 20 foot and deeper, I throw 3/16.
And
most of them get it before it hits the bottom, especially with forward facing, because I can see them.
So they're coming up and meeting it.
They eat it with that slow fall for sure.
Because
you got to be patient there.
It's not falling straight down. It's not just going like that. It's going, I'm a dying shad. It's going,
I'm a tube. The old tube action where it swirls down. That's kind of what it's doing.
Huh.
If I can see him on forward facing and reach him with a spinning rod and make it fall on him, he's going to eat it.
And you would much rather throw a shaky head on that fish than a drop shot or a Ned?
I would. I'm not a Ned fan. That's a smallmouth bait to me.
You're not a Ned fan.
Mm-mm.
Have you
No.
like given it a fair shake?
I don't know, man. I'm a shakehead guy.
I know, that's why I feel like maybe you haven't given the Ned a fair shake because your affinity for the shaky head.
True.
It's like when,
man, that thing is just so little. I just can't make myself throw it. I just can't do it.
well, they have the medium size ones.
Well, I'd just throw a 5-inch Cinco if I was going to do that.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure there's
Wiggins.
gotta be
So Jesse Wiggins is one of the best shaky head guys, still left on tour, and he's a Ned rigger now.
so he's
Like,
converted.
He's trying to sell me on the Ned. Yep.
I mean, how much
But-
experience do you have with it?
With the Ned,
Yeah.
catch a lot of smallmouth on it.
Well, I'm not talking about like dragging it in current or casting it in the Great Lakes to smallmouth. I'm talking about like putting a Ned exactly where you'd put a shaky head.
I've never done it.
I guess you've won so much on a shaky head.
Every tournament that I've ever done well or won, a shaky head played somehow.
And what is do you have a worm, like the worm that is your go-to, no matter what, you're going to start out with that worm everywhere you go?
Zoom green pumpkin trick worm,
6-inch.
6-inch, hands down.
You going to nip a little bit off of the head before you thread it on the hook or before
Just enough to make it match the head.
You paint in the head, or do you care? Could it be straight lead?
Always brown, green or brown.
Green or brown?
Yep.
Never screw lock.
Never screw lock.
What
Never.
I could have looked this stuff up. I feel like I was unprepared for the shaky
Yeah,
head. It kind of came out of left field.
I've got a signature shaky head.
I'm looking
Greenfish
it up.
makes it. Yep, Greenfish makes it. It's a bad little dude. Bobby Lane throws it.
Bobby Lane's an underrated finesse guy. Everyone thinks, oh, I'm up here with this 60-pound test. No, the guy loves a freaking spitted rod and a wacky worm. And I was with him the first time he learned how to drop shot on Onondaga Lake, like back in like 2013, because I was with Pure Fishing. It's like, let's go film some stuff out here. And he's like, Chris gave me a bunch of these. Rah, rah, rah. And he's like, it works.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
does.
Look at this. This has got to be it, right? That it?
That's him. Yep. Clean up.
What is it called?
It's called the clean up.
And what is unique about that one? It looks like it's a pretty stout hook in it.
It's actually a really light wire hook. I mean, it's made for 8 and 10 pound line.
Oh, okay. It just looks.
That's what it's made for. And that's what I throw a shaky head on. Never. A lot of guys nowadays, they throw, those 1/4-ounce shaky heads with 15 pound line on bait casters and stuff. I never do that.
Okay. So Greenfish also makes one with a screw lock.
They do.
So there's the screw lock one. It's called the screwball. So you never use the screw lock hook.
Never.
Lose fish.
I don't know if you lose fish. It's aggravating.
You
It
don't
don't have
like
the same. It doesn't have the same action. Doesn't have the same look.
Scent? Are you slathering that thing with bait fuel, Casey?
Man,
Are you
know me better.
soaking the baits in garlic bang? Or are you
know
just
me
pulling
better.
them straight out of the pack?
Straight out of the pack. No
Bunch of
scent.
BS on all that.
No scent. No color. Just whatever comes out of the bag.
Well, I might have to get back into
You
the
know I'm
shaky
old
head
school,
game.
Matt. You done figured
I
that
know,
out.
but I also did. I mean, you also gave up some juice there on the shaky head. I was very impressed that I guess I forgot that you're such a shaky head guy.
Hey, I caught 11-14 on Clear Lake, California on a shaky head, 10 pound line out from under a dock.
It's a fair point. Have you won $1 million on a shaky head?
I wouldn't say solely on a shaky head, but it probably
In
played in
combo.
each and every one. Yeah.
Who's
combo
won
for
more?
sure.
Who's won more on a shaky head than you? Name your top. Let's go. We'll take a break after this then, because I want to come back. I got some other questions I want to ask you, badger you about some lens colors. But top 5 shaky head fishermen. Let's go of all time. Now, if you want to throw the jig head worm guys in, because if you talk to like the old school guys like Harold Allen, they're like, yeah, we were throwing a shaky head in the 70s. It was just called a jig head worm, or it was called a pork pin on an 1/8 ounce lead with a true turn. But
Harold Allen was one of the greats at worm fishing, period. But I don't even remember seeing guys like utilize a shaky head that much.
I would say David Dudley would have to be in there, wouldn't he?
He would. He is definitely. He used to be a shaky header. Now he's a wacky wormer.
Right.
Yes, he is really good at finesse fishing in general. Me, Wiggins. Wiggins won a lot of money on a shaky head.
Okay, so David Dudley, Casey Ashley, Jesse Wiggins. What was Cody Meyer doing on Beaver Lake and all that stuff back in the day? Was Cody Meyer I mean, he didn't win really on it, but was he a shaky head guy?
I take Cody as a drop shot guy more so than shaky head.
I do too. What about Brent? Was he a Nico, weird West Coast type guy instead of just straight shaky head?
Yeah, he kicked our tail in a cut throwing that Nico rig when I was throwing a shaky head.
We'll see if any of our listeners. Clay Williamson's saying Guido Hibden. Was he that, or was he throwing the little Guido bug on a little jig?
He threw that a lot, but he was definitely a good worm fisherman. Hey, people that's won a lot of money on a shaky head. You got to throw Ike into that mix as well.
Yeah, we get Jeff Crete. Jeff Crete, hands down. He's a shaky head guru. So Crete's on the Mount Rushmore shaky head.
Yes.
So we got Dudley. Dudley's right? He belongs there, doesn't he?
He does.
Okay. Dudley, you, Wiggins, Jeff Crete. Now, some guys are saying Belat, Clausen, Amart, any of those guys? G-Man.
A. Martins was more of a drop shot guy.
I agree.
And we're saying all this, and I do remember the second time we went back to Smith Mountain Lake, KVD won solely on a shaky head with a green pumpkin trick worm. He was
power fishing it.
Yeah, he was catching spawning smallmouth. A lot of them were.
Yeah. Hey, what did he catch that lake record on, or that 10-pounder in 2005 in Texas? Wasn't that a shaky head on the dam at Louisville? Yes.
It was an 11-pounder.
11. Yeah, that's what Clay
just said. It was in a classic, right?
No, I think it was in an E50 or something.
Where you couldn't hardly get a bite. Like a 11 pound.
He was on the dam on Louisville.
Yeah.
Louisville Lake record, shaky head. That's at Clay Williamson. Caught a DD at Louisville with the Are we going to have to throw KVD as the number 5 shaky header?
I don't know.
Is that sacrilegious? Name someone else who doesn't belong. We got Dudley, Ashley, Wiggins, Crete. Dude, we got a guy who's won a tournament. Aaron Martins was definitely a great finesse fisherman, but I don't ever remember him throwing a shaky head. We'll throw KVD in there just for the hell of it. All right. That's good stuff. I enjoyed that segment. We're going to take our first break of the show with Casey Ashley. You've won pretty much every level. You've won FLW. You've won Elite Series. You've won a Classic.
Not Major League Fishing yet. Not Major League Fishing. I got to get one of those red trophies now.
You've come close, though. You've been extremely consistent, too. You'll get your chance there. All right, we're going to take our first break of the show. When we come back, I need some sunglasses for next year. I don't have any. I've got 2 with scratch lenses and 1 from a gas station that I picked up because I like that the frame fit with my hat. Show doesn't have a sunglass sponsorship, so it's wide open. So I'm going to take the guy who's had a title sponsorship with a sunglass company since what year? 2011?
2011.
2011. All right. It is Monday, January 23rd with Casey Ashley. We will be back right after this.
Introducing HDS Pro. Watch fish reacting to your lure live with Active Target 2. Get game-changing clarity in the megahertz range with the new Active Imaging HD sonar. Find the richest fishing spots with C-Maps charts. Take full control of your boat with the ultimate fishing system. HDS Pro. The more you see, the more you catch.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top one, Strike King.
Hey guys, Gerald Swindle representing the AFCO Hydronaut. This is the jacket I love wearing when times is tough, and I'm talking about the weather, not the fishing. The jacket, what I like, I got a double cup right here. I can seal up the bottom of my jacket because when you're fishing, you're holding your arms up. You're bad about getting water that runs downhill. Everything bends good. I'm long arm. Look, it fits very comfortable. My arms is flexible. I've got the speed hood on, pouring down rain. I can get everything zipped up. One thing they did is they made plenty of pocket space. If you ain't got enough pockets in the Hydronaut rain suit, you just got too much stuff. From the water membrane, that's 30K, baby. 30 times the reason you ain't gonna get wet. Super warm. If it's cold in the wintertime, you put on your Hydronaut, you're gonna be a much more comfortable person. If you don't want to just look sexy at Dairy Queen, wear your Hydronaut. We got it from small to 5X. Most rain gear does not come in that many sizes. You got waist adjusting straps. We can make it fit you. No matter what the environment is, we want you to be comfortable. We want you to be dry. You gotta check it out. It ain't gonna let you down.
Elite Series Pro Daryl Gleason here. My Pro Guide batteries keep me going on those long tournament days and long practice days. Always plenty of juice, never fail. The best part about Pro Guide batteries, it's the people behind the company. They have over 40 years experience in the battery business, keeping all of us fishermen out on the water longer, catching more fish. Check them out at ProGuideBatteries.com.
What's up, Bass Talk Live fans? Brandon Polnick here. And ever since I won a couple Bassmaster Elite Series events on X-Zone Lures, I've been getting a bunch of questions of what makes them so special and different. And really, the truth is, it's in the details. The little details, things like no cheap fillers in their plastic. That gives you more lifelike action, more realistic and vibrant colors. But don't just take my word for it. Go to www.xzonelures.com and check them out for yourself.
All right, welcome back, BTL, on a Monday with the man, Casey Ashley. Are you still in Donaldson?
Donald's.
You've been there. Are you a Donald's lifer, Casey?
I am. Born and raised.
Will you ever leave, or is that home forever?
It's home, man. Everybody I know, everything I love is right here.
How big is it?
It really is a great place to live. Like it's super tiny, but man, like I told you earlier, we are so close to so many great fisheries. I mean, I'm not on the lake because if I lived on the lake, I would be worthless. I would fish every single day. So they're far enough away that you like have to try to go fishing.
Right.
But 30, 40 minutes, I can be on 6 different bodies of water. They're really good.
Hartwell, Murray.
Hartwell, Clarks Hill, Russell, Kiwi. I ain't gonna put Kiwi in there because it's terrible. Greenwood, Secession, Murray. 6.
Wow. Yeah, that's strong.
Yep. And
that explains why there's so many Carolina guys that are on tour. Like if you look at even like North and South and stuff, there's an abnormal amount of anglers that come out of that South North Carolina area. It's, I think, because you can do whatever you want.
You can, and it's, some of our lakes have herring. All the Savannah River has herring, but a lot of other lakes around here they don't have herring. It's a whole different deal. So you can kind of hone your skills in on whatever you want to do.
All right, we got to mention a couple more, so it's not we don't leave anyone out. John Murray and Mark Rose. Would you put either of them in that?
John Murray for sure.
Okay, take KVD out and put John Murray instead, or you keep KVD in? Does John Murray supplant? Like, if you were to pick which one, do you still keep KVD?
No, KVD, he hates throwing a shaky head. He just had to throw it to catch him that time.
Okay, so John Murray. And then old school, someone mentioned Tom Mann was like one of the OG shaking worm guys.
See, I'm so young, I don't even remember that. I remember Tom Mann. Tom Mann Jr. won a tournament on Clark's Hill on a fluke. I do remember that. Actually, the double fluke, but I don't remember the shaky head.
Look at this. You're just making royalties left and right. Marcus said he just went and bought your shaky head, 1/8 ounce brown head.
Oh, son, you will catch him on it, I promise you. But don't throw it on a bait caster because you will straighten that hook out. I see the one he's holding right there. That fish will straighten it out on a bait caster.
Spinning rod.
Spinning rod.
All right, let's talk lenses. My season's about to start for the Opens. One of the things that I don't feel like I have ever had dialed in is my lens selection and sunglass selection. I've kind of just had whatever Jeffrey's had as a sponsor of BTL. Let's see. We've been through Oakley, Smith, ones where you like pop the lenses out and pop different lenses in. Costa. We've done Costa before. We've been through.
You should have grabbed all of those. You should have grabbed all of those.
I've got I've got 3 pair of Costas but they're just kind of what I ended up with.
Hand-me-downs.
Yeah, I think one of them was like left in the VRBO and no one claimed them. One of them was like a birthday present. So if I want to get my sunglass game like on point, like what do I need to start out with? What do I need to have? How many glasses do you actually need? And how important is your lens cover?
You have to have at least 2 lens colors. And these will get you by in anything you need to do. Freshwater fishing, 580G, 100%. That's the glass. And you need the green mirror and you need the sunrise silver. Those 2 will do whatever you want it to do. Now frames is an endless option. Everybody's face is
fit your face.
Yep, you have to fit your face. My favorite everyday glass frame to wear is the Fathom. It's small. You can fish in them, but if you're sight fishing, you really need some type of protection. My go-to is either the Fantail Pro or the Jose Pro. They're going to give you the best coverage. They're still light. They were made for fishing. I mean, they've got all kind of cool features like, sweat tunnels that keep sweat from dripping in your eyes and all that good stuff. I mean, you can adjustable nose piece where you can widen them or make them skinnier so they fit your face just like they're supposed to. It's got everything, but it does give you coverage, and coverage is what you need on the sides. What I mean by coverage, no light gets in on the side or underneath. And yeah, as far as lenses go, 580G, green mirror, and the sunrise silver. Green mirror is for bright sunny days, fresh water. We always fish, even though it's clear, freshwater has some type of green tint to it.
Okay.
And the green mirror is made for that color water. When you get into
you'll sight fish with both colors.
Yep. Dark cloudy days, and even I like to wear, like when I go to Florida, that dark tannic water. I wear that sunrise silver even then because I'm about half colorblind. And something about that light lens, it really makes the fish pop in that tannic water to me. But if it's overcast, you got to have sunrise silver.
And glass is key, not the plastic.
With the glass. Plastic is good if you want to just keep them in your car and wear them every day because they're light. But if you wear them, 16 hours on the water fishing, it's gonna make your eyes really tired.
And does that have the anti-shatter stuff? Like I put a 2 ounce tungsten into my cheekbone in Florida last year, and I mean it like dropped me hardcore. Like it was terrifying.
Like somebody shot you.
Yeah. I mean, like I looked at my co-angler and I'm like, "Is it bad?" And he's standing there with his mouth open, just going.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So the good thing about the plastic, they call it polycarbonate, but it is light and it still does the same thing, but it will make your eyes a lot more tired. It's more of keeping your car, throw them on when you're going to the store or going to work or going home from work. Glass, you can't scratch them. Like you can take a key and do like this on them. They will shatter, obviously, if something hits them, but they won't just like blow up like a light bulb. Plastic, they will scratch. You know, if you drop them, they're much more prone to be damaged. Glass, not so much. Either you're going to bust them or they're going to be good.
I got you. How many different colors do you carry with you? I mean, I know you said the green mirror and the sunrise silver if you're just to pick two, but do you carry 5, 6, 7 pairs with you at all times in the boat?
I do carry 5 or 6, 7 different pairs of glasses, but they all have some form of green mirror or sunrise silver mirror.
Okay. Well, that sounds pretty clear then. Like, I mean, I need that pair and then make sure that, you know, you have the right fit on it.
Yeah. The frames is the deal. You know, if say it's June and I'm fishing shallow, I want to be able to see fish if there's some up there, wolf packing, cruising, you know, brim beds, that type of stuff. But I would more wear them for cover, being able to see a old stump or, you know, an isolated brush pile out there in the middle, just stuff like that. So I'm going to use the frame more like, you know, something that's light, that's not as heavy on my nose when I don't need, you know, the perfect coverage like I would do during a spawning type of situation, you know, keeping all the light out. That's when I would use the Pro.
All right. So I'm throwing a sunrise silver with a 1/8 ounce shaky head, brown or green pumpkin head, 8 to 10 pound test at a 6-inch straight trick worm. And I'm catching up like Casey Ashley then.
100%. 100%.
Is it hard to believe that you've been doing this like 15 years?
I was just talking about this the other day. So Big Show Terry Scroggins is one of my great friends, and he is actually who persuaded me to get into bass fishing, to qualify for the elites.
Big Show is?
Yep. So I met Big Show years ago, somehow or another. Went to a BFL regional on Toho, and I was like 17, 18 years old. And me and the buddy that I went with, Big Show brought us out there, took us and rode us around, taught us how to run in Florida. I'd never been to Florida. I'd never seen all that grass, you know, and kept up with him. Fast forward 2006, I fished the Everstart on Lake Okeechobee. I led it the first day. Wound up, I finished in the top 10. Brian Thrift won it. That was the chatterbait reveal. So I went back because I did so well. The Opens, or the Southern Tour back then is what it was called, their first tournament was 2 weeks later on Lake Okeechobee. So I went back down there, and Big Show fished it. I did well in it. And he was like, man, he said, you fish all these things, you can make the elites, you know? I was like, man, there ain't no way. That's what I told myself. I was like, there ain't no way. Well, wound up, I did. I fished the Everstarts and the Southern Tour that year and made the elites and had no clue how I was going to find the money to do it, but I did it. So, yeah, Big Show, he kind of persuaded me to keep going on that.
That's a good story.
It is. You would have never thought I would have known Big Show Terry Scroggins when I was like 18, 19 years old.
Yeah. That was a long time ago, 2007. What are your thoughts on the young guys coming in now? Like, how much more prepared do you think they are? Or are they prepared? Or is it the same thing, just a different year than when you came in 2007? Because I feel like you're pretty open in saying, like, hey, I had absolutely no clue what the hell I was doing on the majority of these things.
I did not. All I knew that I loved to fish, and I didn't know how I was going to make all the rest of it work, but I love to fish, so I was going to figure it out on the way. And that's honestly, nowadays, you know, you have social media and all this stuff for these young guys to kind of promote themselves, but it was actually better and easier on the sponsor side when I came through than it is now, because now it's just like flooded. You know what I'm saying? So you really have to set yourself apart to land a good deal And as the sponsors, that is bass fishing. I don't care how good you are. If you don't have good sponsors, it's tough. It's a tough business. I mean, you don't catch them every time. I don't care how good you are. So you got to have it. And now with all the social media, yes, it is a helpful tool, but now it's a flooded market. Like, you really have to work to set yourself apart when you're starting out. And it's hard to set a name for yourself when you're coming out cold. Nobody knows who you are. So that's why I say it was probably a little easier when I come along, even though I didn't have all the tools that they have now, but that's why it was easier. You know, it was more of a still kind of working on a handshake deal, you know?
What have you done right, do you think, to be able to keep Costa since 2011 through a bunch of changes, a bunch of overhaul? I mean, dude, that's insane to keep any sponsor for that long, but 2011 through 2023, that's impressive.
It is. And I'm not going to take any credit on that. I'm just going to tell you I'm the luckiest human being alive. Because I did come through in the beginning, and when it was still kind of just people liked you for who you were, not how many social media fans you had and all that. So just being at the right place, right time, and, you know, just be who you are. You know, that's been my motto when I started out. And I've heard this from so many other people, so that's kind of why I used it. You surround yourself with good people, good things will happen. And if you surround yourself with good people and you are good to the people you're around, they'll be the same to you. And, you know, that's kind of how I've gotten all my deals. Triton, Mercury, Costa. I've been with Triton and Mercury ever since I started my career.
Holy cow.
Quantum, I've been with them since 2011, you know, rod and reels. Zoom, I've been with Zoom since I started my career. Just relationships. When you get a good sponsor, and what I mean by a good sponsor, like Triton, Mercury, Costa, Zoom, man, they don't need me to promote them. I mean, they promote themselves. Zoom don't even advertise, and they sell more worms in this country than anybody. But yeah, just I like to work for people that, you know, it's easy to promote. It's easy to say that this product is good. It's easy for me to believe in it. You know, whatever I sell, I believe in, and people know it.
It's good stuff. True Fishing says, I got to go. My teacher's yelling at me, but tell Casey he should come to he should come to the high school tournament on Lake Hartwell this weekend.
I wish I could. I'm actually going to practice on Lake Norman this weekend.
For Redcrest.
Yep.
For Redcrest. I feel like you like to be like home and not bothered for time. Like you like to just like mellow out and do your own thing. Like you're good at doing stuff, but you need some downtime to just hang out with the fam and do your own thing.
I think everybody needs downtime.
Well, I mean, some guys are just go for like, I mean, you look at guys and you're like, you're at what show? Now you're doing what? Now you're where? Now you're recorded this. But there's other guys that are, they just kind of methodical. You strike me as a guy who's not a go type of guy.
No, I like to
unless
be home.
You have to be.
Right. Yeah. I like to be home. I like to do things at my own speed. You know how teachers, they have those days that they can take off. That's just like for their mental health. So from October to January, those are my months that I get to take off from mental health. Nah, it's been a great ride, man. You know, some years since COVID, it has changed everything as far as like appearances and stuff. You know, I used to do a lot, but it's just like since COVID hit, there's not the need for it as much anymore. Not because I don't want to do it or don't do it. I don't know. It's just kind of changed the game a little bit. People would rather watch you and I sit right here and do this.
Yeah. Well, we could do so many different cool things here. I was looking at how KVD won the classic on Lay Lake, what we were talking about before. And it was exactly the way we described it. That was a
Was it
brilliant.
the red eye, or did he use a square bill?
No, it was a red eye.
Yeah. He
It
used a square bill when he won at the he was cranking those stumps at the Delta.
In 2011. That was Polinick's first one. That was the one that Remitz was in there, and Polinick and him, and they had that freshwater deal that had flushed through there, and he knew he was going to destroy that one. He knew he was going to dominate that one.
It wasn't where he won that tournament. Didn't that part of the Delta just open?
Yeah, there was something about like a freshwater, like something that was pumping like freshwater or something with current into that section of it, that it was more alive than all the rest of it.
Right.
Because that one, I wanted to do a media ride in that one. So I called up everybody that I knew and said, "Hey, are you running to Venice?" Because I wanted to be in the boat with someone that was making that run. Well, I didn't know that it would be the foggiest classic in history and that everybody would get the freaking radar that they put an inch above their heads. So I called a couple guys and they're like, I don't know. And I got to KJ, and KJ's like, hell yeah, I'm going. And I was like, cool. I'm going to media observe with you on day one. And he's like, bring it. And that was the freaking craziest run in the history of planet Earth, because you had Kelly, who thank God was somewhat normal. You know, he was like, dude, I'm not like running in this, but you had these guys who had this radar, which was basically forward facing sonar for boats in front of you. Right. Yeah. And it was like radar that was supposed to be like 50 feet away from you, and it's like 6 inches away from them, literally radiating them, and they're going 70 miles. Did you fish that one?
No. So I didn't qualify for 2 classics,
and that
I was at Bass. That was one of them. So I actually opened on stage. I sang at that classic before the ceremony started with my guitar. It's me and the guitar.
Really?
Yep.
I guess if you're not going to be in it, that's a cool way.
It was cool. And then
that was nuts.
Zach Brown finished it after the show.
They used to be at a bunch of stuff. They must have had a deal with Bass, because before they were Zach Brown band, they did like the All-Star event on the Alabama River, and
Yep. I met him there. But yeah, that was pretty cool. If I wasn't fishing, I was, on stage singing. So that was fun.
You still sing a lot?
Not as much as I used to, man. I don't have time. I don't have time to learn new stuff. I mean, I got a 9-year-old. Dude, when I got a spare minute, he's wanting to be shooting something or catching something all the time.
That's good.
Which is not a bad thing.
Yeah, it could be worse.
Yeah, if that's what he wants to do, that's what we're going to do.
It could be a soccer practice.
Well, that too. He plays football and baseball, so.
I'm just kidding. I'm not ripping that bad on soccer.
Dude,
I actually started appreciating soccer.
I don't know anything about soccer. He played one time, but.
There's a show out on Netflix. It was on FX, and it's called Welcome to Wrexham. And it's
what is
like
that?
And so it's like the oldest soccer club in history. It's like 150, 160 years old. And I'm trying to think of the guy's name who bought it. Anyway, 2 Hollywood A-listers. It's over in like Wales or Belgium or somewhere over there. And they buy this freaking team, and it's like down, and it's the whole series is on them like bringing it back to its former glory. Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
And I've never watched a soccer thing in my life, and I watched all 15 episodes of that in like 2 days.
So now you know a little bit about soccer?
Yes.
Gotcha. See, I don't know anything about it. That's why I don't watch it. Like, it just looks like a bunch of people out there running around for me.
Yeah. No, it's good stuff. It's in Wales. CP Branson. It's a great show. It's in Wales. All right. Anything else? What do you got coming up? What are your thoughts on the year? Anything you want to?
Man, it's gonna be a good year. We're going to a few of the same lakes. Some of the lakes we're going to, we hadn't been there in a long time. The ones we're repeating to, we are going at a different time of year. I'm looking forward to Murray. I hadn't fished a big event on Murray since the FLW Tour, or the Major League Fishing Pro Circuit 2 years ago. I missed the cut by 10 ounces in that deal, so kind of on a little revenge on that. I'm looking forward to Saginaw Bay. That's one northern tournament that I'm looking forward to. Gunnersville will be good. That's not my favorite place to go. I kind of want to go back to the Caney Creek deal down in Louisiana. That's a different time of year, but I missed out getting to go into the little bussy break place where they caught all those toads flipping.
That's heavy hitters this year, right?
That's heavy hitters. That's my jam. I want to really go there.
Okay.
But yeah, man, we've got a good schedule. You know, we open at Toho. I'm fishing the first invitational in a little over 2 weeks on Okeechobee. So,
are you fishing all the invitationals, or are you going to cherry pick those?
I just cherry picked. I did the first two. I did Okeechobee and I did Clarks Hill, and I'm done.
Hey, the first time you ever put your boat in on Kissimmee, so like Toho, like you put in at Big Toho Marina, were you like, what the hell, this is it? Like when you put it in red, like I did it for the open and I was like, wait a second, that's the dam. Like I just put in, like, I was like, I think I could run this. I see boats. And then all of a sudden I'm at the end of the lake.
Yeah.
And I've heard about, you hear about Toho, like Toho's like the land before time. Right. And then you get out there. Now, granted, once you understand it, then you're like, holy cow, there's endless billions of miles of backwater and canals and stuff. But if you just put your boat in and go, shockingly small. Did you get that same feeling the first time you did it? It is.
Well, the first time I ever put my boat in on Toho, I was with Big Show. So I got to see all the ins and outs from right off the rip. He was like, oh, Hammer, so you see this grass right here? He said, don't run close to it. It's shallow. I'm like, it all looks same to me, Big Show. It's green. But yeah, it is small. Like if you just run the open water, it's one end or the other in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's crazy. How are you going to beat Thrift on Norman this year?
Man, Thrift's really good on Norman. So is Andy Montgomery. But Thrift will tell you, he loves to fish it in the fall when it's tough. And that's kind of like me. I love to fish at home when it's tough, like in the wintertime. When it's a slugfest, man, anybody can win. Anybody can catch them. Everybody that we fish against, compete against, they're really, really good. But if I had to put money on one, it would be Andy or Brian.
Or you.
Or me. Hey, there's bluebacks in Lake Norman.
Yeah, I'm looking at the schedule. It is a jammer schedule for you, dude.
It is.
Yeah, Cherokee and Douglas are right in your wheelhouse too.
It is. Cherokee and Douglas, they are two special places. I like Cherokee more than Douglas, but I do like fishing those in the pre-spawn. I wouldn't want to go there when they come off the bank and getting 40 foot deep. But Cherokee is special.
Clarks Hill this year, Lake Norman, Cherokee and Douglas, and Lake Murray, and then the other fisheries that you like the Caney Creek and the Florida stuff. That since Big Show's you're like BFF, you're comfied out of Florida now for the last 20 years.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I've always went into a year not being excited. Like, just
you gotta be excited for this one.
Just because you like a lake doesn't mean you're going to catch a bass.
Yeah, but when was the last time you had one of those lakes where you sucked on it? Like, be honest. Like, you don't ever suck on those lakes.
Hey, Lake Okeechobee, the last time I was there, I zeroed for 2 days.
No, the Blueback Lakes, Casey.
Yeah, Bluebacks is a whole different deal.
Like, I'm your really sucky finish is a 20th.
You said I like to be at home and do my whole thing. Well, this whole winter break, I've burned so many gallons of gas on Clarks Hill. It's not even funny. I had to relearn it. When you're on tour, you don't get to fish at home. So I had to go out there.
More secret lures than ever on Blueback Lakes.
Secret lures?
Yeah, like the stuff that's like old. Like you have risers and fallers and swimmers and minnows and all sorts of weird blueback stuff. Like you go out to those blueback lakes and everybody's like, hey, look at this paint job. And this hasn't been made since 2008. I mean, I'm not going to like blow them out now, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yep. Well, the underspin is old. Jigging spoons, dude. We catch them really good.
Oh, you guys even
water.
have secret jigging spoons. You have
Yes.
out there in the Carolinas, they have these soft lead jigging spoons. It looks like just straight up like War Eagles or whatever, 7/8, but they're soft lead. And then you take them and they've got strips of reflective tape on them. They're painted white, and then you bend them.
It's called a berry spoon.
Okay, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, berry spoon. I got a boatload of them. Yeah, we catch the heck out of them on those things, man.
And you can fish them like a topwater. You could reel them through. You can rip them. You can actually jigging spoon them. They're the most bizarre thing ever. And some people, it's like a bill of a hat.
Yep.
Some people keep them flat. Other people, Chad Morgenthaler.
Yep. I'm telling you, man, there are little nuances at home, on herring bodies of water that just flat out work. And then you take them other places and you'll never get a bite on them. I mean, it's crazy. The old floating bomber, it's still a big deal. Just the bone floating bomber jerkbait. We use it as a weight bait. You have to wind it super slow, so it's for cold water. But a lot of fish get caught on that thing on blueback lakes.
Dude, I greatly appreciate it. Anything else?
Big bladed spinnerbaits and the 3-blade. You can't forget the 3-blade.
Well, I'm not talking about secret lures. I'm just talking about a general life in the show. Anything else you want to get in before I let you go? I like your backdrop. You got a hell of a backdrop there.
I do. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, I see the belt.
That jersey in that shadow box back here.
Yep.
There's a painting behind it, inside the box. So my cousin actually painted that. He's a really good artist.
Oh, I see it. If you look up over the right shoulder, that's you in a boat, and it looks like you're on some sort of Carolina.
That is where I won the classic.
No kidding. And that's the jersey you wanted in.
Yes. Yep.
Have you seen? Oh, and then you got the classic trophy next to it, and you got your Elite Series trophy next to that, and then you've got your
my heavyweight belt. You see my heavyweight belt?
Your heavyweight belt there for 100 pounds. You got some FLWs up in the corner.
I do. Yeah.
Where's your
those are old school
tour win? Where's your tour win trophies?
Let's see. Those are old right there.
Those aren't
trophies.
Yeah, where's your FLW tour win?
Oh, it's there.
Oh, there we go.
On the other side of the heavyweight belt. Just missing a red one, man. I got to get that red one.
Yeah, you pretty much have every other trophy known to man. Is that like a second place Elite Series trophy or something? The one that's like a little bit smaller?
Up on top.
It's like the middle row.
Yeah, second place. That was at Lake Wheeler to Tommy Biffle.
Do you feel like if you finish top 5, you should get some sort of hardware, plaque, trophy, something? I mean, a top 5. No, you don't think so?
No.
Win or nothing?
Nah, win or nothing. Yeah, they used to do that, but that was really a waste of money. Because, you look back over there, I mean, you see that little trophy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see that one. I mean,
yeah.
I've got it up there just because I needed to fill space. But, KVD, he would just throw that little trophy right there in the trash. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Because he has so many big ones.
I just remember back in the day, everyone was trying to stack those little FLWs. Because I think you got one for like the top 4 or 5, and you'd go into like your buddy's house who's like the local hammer, and he'd just have like of all those little, the little FLW ones. Go ahead.
Those little trophies, that's how I met Marty Robinson. We tied in a BFL for 3rd. So we had to flip a coin. We got paid the same. We had to flip a coin to see who got the 3rd place trophy or the 4th place trophy. And Marty got me. He flipped a nickel. He asked, I didn't know nothing about flipping coins. So he asked the dude, I forget the guy's name, the tournament director. Maxwell. I think he's passed now. But anyway, they flipped a nickel, and Marty said he called tails. He's like, and when it was over, he won, obviously. He's like, anybody ever flips a nickel, you call tails. See, it's because the head's always heavy, so it's going to land head down. Things you learn from Marty Robinson. Me and him have been traveling together ever since.
So you always, if you get in a coin flip, you're always flipping a nickel and taking the tails.
Yeah, if they flip a nickel, you take tails.
God, I don't have a nickel. Do you have a nickel?
I don't.
I'm going to go try that as soon as the show's over.
Hey, percentage-wise, I guess he's right because he won.
Slight percentage.
Yep.
Slight percentage.
Kind of like cards,
change.
you know.
All right. Well, I'm going to let
lessons
you go.
from Marty Robinson.
That's good stuff. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to take our final commercial break. When I come back, I'm going to, you're going to make your money fishing this year. I'm going to make my money on fantasy fishing this year because MLF came out with some, with what's new at fantasyfishing.com. And it's not the Hulk Hogan $1 million, that type of stuff, like $100,000 per event. Like, it's hard to believe that actually existed at one point in time. You had Hulk Hogan giving $1 million away to a fantasy fishing winner. Like, in what world did we live in back then?
Right.
But we're talking like boats and trucks and tackle and stuff like that and a bunch of different changes. So, I mean, you're welcome to stick around for this final segment if you want to go through strategy with me. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, I'm just going to run some more commercials, come back and talk about that. If you want to stick around for fantasy fishing theory, you can. Otherwise, you could dip out. I'm just trying to figure out how I can get in on that fantasy fishing action. I don't think you can. I think you're ineligible. Think I'm exempt from it? Yeah, you're 100% exempt from it. Hey, sounds like a good deal, though. It is. All right, Casey, I appreciate it, man. Hey, man, I appreciate it. Enjoyed it. We went way deeper into shaky heads than I ever thought we would, but it's good stuff. It is an art. It is an art. An art. Hey, thank you for having me, man. Good luck on tour this year. It's the opens, man. You can't. I guess it is a tour. Yes, it is. When you hit the road, that's tour. I know, but it's still you just pay your entry fee and woohoo, we're on tour. We're on tour, baby. Hell yeah, I'm on the opens tour. Hey, you'll be doing that for the rest of your life if you keep. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully, I get to something that you have to qualify for. No, I'm talking about paying entry fees and hitting the road. Oh yeah. No, I thought you were talking about the opens. I was like, God, that's a little morbid. No. You said pay your entry fees and hit the road. Oh, yeah. I was like, yeah, you'll be doing that the rest of your life. Yep. Right. It's all good. Hey, Casey. Appreciate you having me, Matt. Thanks. See ya. All right, that is Casey Ashley. Good stuff. I think we're like the exact same. Like I said, I think we're like the exact same age. 84 birthdays, I want to say. 83, 84 birthdays. Wins his first tournament, the first tournament that I covered on Smith Mountain. I've told this story before on the show. One of the things I remember about that event was Casey wins. I think he's got his parents there. That's about it. And, we all interview him, and they're like breaking down the stage in the background. And he comes out of the media trailer, and like the stage is all broken down and people are getting all their stuff to put up. And he's just standing there, 23 years old. He's got a trophy under one arm. And he's like, well, what now? And they're like, you're done. He's just standing. I just remember him standing in the empty field with the trophy going, what do I do now? It's like, go celebrate. All right, we'll take our final break. I think we got some new commercials in here. I've been begging for some new commercials. I think we got some new commercials. So we'll see if they, roll. But when we come back, I want to get into the fantasy fishing. MLF stepping it up on that. It is BTL on a Monday. We'll be back right after this.
Having confidence in your tackle while on the water is one of the main things to success, in my opinion. In the last couple of years with Denali, I've had just that. From anything from spinning rods, casting rods, tungsten products, even now to casting and spinning reels, I have the confidence to go out there and get the job done and know that all my equipment is going to handle it and do it just the way I want it. The thing about Denali is you've got great quality products at a great price point, so make sure you check them out.
Have you considered purchasing new electronics for your rig? The type of mounts you choose to protect your investment should be part of the decision-making process. No matter if you prefer 1, 2, or 3 graphs up front, Beatdown Outdoors has a solution for you. Adjustable, versatile, rigid, and made in the USA. What's your ultimate electronic setup? Check out the full selection of Beatdown Outdoors products by visiting beatdownoutdoors.com.
Are you looking to install your own fishing electronics? The solution is the Bass Tank Power Harness. It takes the guesswork out of installation. No more voltage issues or interference. Designed by an engineer so that you can get professional results right there in your own garage. Installation done right with the help of the Bass Tank Power Harness. You can feel confident knowing that your installation was done right. The Bass Tank Power Harness. Give us a call or order yours today at thebasstank.com.
Get the best patterns backed by tournament data. Start by finding the best 10% of your lake. Know exactly what to look for and what to throw. After that, just put them in the boat. Try the Deep Dive app today.
Look at that beast right there.
The great thing about the new Sensation soft plastics from Big Bite Baits, heavily scented, super soft, buoyant, comes in 7 great new shapes. I've got a couple of them of my signature series, the cliffhanger worm and the ramtail craw. Great for a flipping jig, football jig, swim jig, all that. Several other great shapes. Really excited about it. We've worked over the last year, catches fish all over the country, and I think it's going to catch fish for people everywhere you try it.
The Spro Little John crankbait has been around for almost 15 years, and it is one of my go-to crankbaits whenever I need a fish in the boat, so you can never have enough new colors. That's why Spro's coming out with a handful of new colors, including Pearl Shad, which has this bleached out white look, but it's got this pearlescent, really pretty. We've got Copper Shad, which looks amazing in the water. It's got that purple flake on the back, really pops in the water. And then if you want some real pop, we've got Sparkle Shad, nothing but sparkles all over this thing. And then last but not least, we've got the Matte Sexy Shad, just a really different looking color for a crankbait. So you want to give them a little different look, that Matte Sexy Shad is definitely the one to go with. All these colors are available in the original Little John and the MD.
I'm the kind of guy that never leaves the house without a pocket knife, and Gamakatsu's come out with the EDC series of knives. EDC stands for everyday carry, so whether you're on the water or off, you can always have it with you. The best thing about it to me is that assisted open feature. With this D2 blade, you've got it right here at your fingertips, so if you can't find your scissors, you need to cut a knot, you need to cut your braid, you've always got it. Make sure you check it out. Never leave home without your Gamakatsu EDC knife.
Preparation is key to success. And that preparation starts well before you ever hit the water. You're only as strong as your connection to the fish, and your line is that critical connection. Confidence in your line every minute of every day on the water is a necessity, and failure, it's not an option. Sunline makes the fluorocarbon, nylon, and braided lines to give you the strength to guarantee your confidence.
All right, we are back wrapping things up on a Monday. How about that? New commercial spot there. Michael Neal with the quick draw on the EDC on the EDC Gamakatsu knife. I like it. I want to get into the MLF fantasy fishing. They came out with a article the end of last week, what's new at fantasyfishing.com in 2023. And remember, they didn't really have fantasy fishing for a number of years, and everyone was like, hey, you're missing the boat. Then they came out with fantasy fishing, and then everyone was like telling them all they were doing wrong on the fantasy fishing. But they're making strides. They're making strides here. So fantasyfishing.com, here are the major changes. If you're into this stuff, they went with public leagues. So last time you had to have like a private league like Bass Zone, and I had to give out like a code. So you can do like a public league now. You can actually like fill your team in with the selections that you used. If you forgot to fill in the selections for a team, you can see the percentages and stuff of like what the other people that are playing are picking. And then this is the big one, picking the top 10 and win big. So picking a winning team is already hard enough, but if you get the entire top 10 right for any given tournament, that's something that should be rewarded in a big way. So, if you pick 10 guys for a tournament, they all finish in the top 10, you get a brand new Phoenix 818, a 23 Toyota Tundra limited edition, and Abu Garcia fishing gear. So you get a boat, a truck, and fishing gear if in any of the regular season tournaments for either the BPT or the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals, you get all top 10. And then there's also like new trips for pros and things like that. So I will get that going this week. I will go in, I will create a Bass Zone group. Actually, Jody White won the BTL group last year for the MLF side. Sent him, Brian Head from Denali there, sent him the 7.4 Lithium Pro multi-spin, medium heavy. And he went up and he's been catching lake trout and smallmouth on it. So that's good. All right, tomorrow's show, very interesting dude. Kevin Rogers. If you follow the sport, you've probably heard his name. He's arguably the biggest name in the crappie tournament game. Very heralded or very storied career. One of the most decorated crappie anglers in tournament crappie history. And then kind of decided, he's kind of always dabbled in the bass, but decided he wanted to come over and start fishing the bass, fished the MPFL last year and jumped in a bunch of other events. This year, looks like he's fishing the Invitationals and the NPFL. So we will get his take, kind of really just 2 years into this journey for Kevin Rogers. So we will talk to him, and then Frank gets here on Wednesday. Show 100 for Frank Scalish in studio, which is big to have Frank in studio. So he's supposed to be driving on Wednesday here, and then of course Tuesday and Wednesday we're supposed to have a lot of snow and wind. So never fails when a Scalish comes into town that we have weather. But then we're going to go fish Thursday, Friday, possibly Saturday after the show on Thursday. Of course, that's show number 100, day 4, number 100 on Thursday. Frank, Mark, we're going to have Mark come in. We're going to have probably Frank Jr., Josh, a bunch of different people that are going to be a part of that. So excited to have Frank sitting right across the way, and excited for a good show today. I really appreciate Casey jumping on. He gave up a lot of good juice on the shaky head. He actually probably convinced me to put that back into my rotation in 2023 when it comes to the finesse fishing. I pretty much have gone back to just drop shot or Ned, but he made a pretty strong case for the shaky head. And then also explained a lot about the sunglasses and why there's so many good guys that are out of that Carolina area. So this has been another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live for Monday, January 23rd. Kevin Rogers tomorrow. Like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Merchandise still available on Shop BTL tab on BassZone.com. Guys, thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the comments, the support. Another great live show today with a lot of live viewers. So we'll see everybody tomorrow for Kevin Rogers. That's it. Later.